Paul, two-part question to start off. The hardest ones, let's get them right out there.
Okay.
How do you respond to the fans who say you are cheap, one? And two, since you don't pay the marquee players big money or can't, why don't you sell the team?
Okay. Those are tough questions. I'll give you the straight answers. First, with respect to cheap. Well, this might take a little bit, but let me explain, maybe give you a picture of what really owners do with baseball franchises. You know, when a team signs, or when a free agent, a big high-profile free agent signs with a team, you know, all the noise is the owner has spent. You know, the owner has put up money on this player. And that's really not what happens. What happens is that the team's business has put up money to bring in a free agent. The owner really, I mean, the owner may approve of it, but really hasn't played a role financially in that decision. Where owners step up is when the team has losses. Then the owner has to either cover the costs by, you know, go borrowing or reaching into his pocket. Either way, you're reaching into the owner's pocket to do that. That's really what owner spending in baseball is. And so when you look at these large markets that sign large players, the owner's not spending. The business of the team is. Whereas in markets like ours, we are spending. And in fact, this year, we were, I don't know all the details of every club, but arguably as owners, we were certainly in the top 5, if not higher, in spending. Now, that doesn't necessarily, the fans don't necessarily get that because our spending doesn't bring in a large free agent. Our spending just keeps the franchise afloat. But I can tell you, when you look at the larger market owners, they're not spending. The owner is not spending. They are using the resources of the business, which come from the community and what it generates. So if you want to call us cheap, fine. But the reality is that we are spending more money as owners on this franchise than most of the large markets owners are who are signing the larger free agents.
The portion of the second portion of the question about the fans suggesting that you sell the team if you can't pay these big players.
Well, if they think that there is a prospective owner of this franchise who would pay fair value for the franchise, whatever that would be, and then they think that there's somebody after buying the franchise who's going to go out and spend more than we do in covering losses, bring them to us and we'll have a discussion.
In other words, an offer you can't refuse.
Well, even we're not. It's not up for sale. My point is that we are doing what owners of a franchise in this market should do. You may not be happy with what's happening in the marketplace here. We don't like it either. But we're going to do the things necessary to make us successful on the field. And to do that, you have to do some very difficult things. We do it. As a result, we think we've positioned us to win. And we think other markets should be doing the same thing. They don't, because they want to be popular. And as a result, they don't succeed.
I think I know the answer to the next question I'm going to ask you, but I've been asked by the fans on this one. Then what was the difference during the Jacob ownership?
Completely different world. Completely different world. We can run through all the things that were going on in our marketplace at that time that made this a very, very different franchise. To my earlier description of the owner's role, during the 90s era when we had such success, Mr. Jacobs wasn't spending money. He was making money. He wasn't reaching into his pocket to go out and get free agents. He was making money. So and he was making money because of the unique circumstances that existed in our marketplace at the time. You know, everything from winning for the first time, new ballpark, the rest of baseball in depression because of the '94 strike. Everybody else went south. The Cleveland Indians didn't experience that, so they were de facto a large market at the time, generating revenues in the top 5. We're now in the 22nd, 23rd in baseball in terms of revenues. Back then, we were in the top 5. That's the difference.
Only time will tell. But there are many of us analysts that, and I am one of them, quite honestly, Paul, that thought we should have gotten more in the Martinez and the Lee deals. And we'll see even on DeRosa. With that being said, knowing the club options that you would have had to pay the 2 players, Martinez and Lee, was this a decision that was made much earlier in the season when you saw the season going south, that you just wanted to, you were projecting what the losses would be not only for this year but also next year?
Well, when you say the timing of the decision, I'll tell you that I was golfing with a friend of mine on Tuesday, the Tuesday before the trading deadline, when I told him I didn't think we were going to trade Lee or Martinez. On Wednesday we traded Lee, and on Friday we traded Martinez. So the decision was made at the moment, and it was made because as we began to understand both what was happening in the marketplace in terms of the value of our players and what they would achieve in the marketplace, plus our continually looking at where we stood financially this year and next year, and what the ramifications would be of the magnitude of the loss that we would incur this year and next year. As we looked at both, it sort of coalesced in the decisions that we made to trade Lee and Martinez. Finances certainly was a part of it. The losses that we were going to incur this year and the losses we would incur next year would put us in a position where, we'd said to our people, we can handle it. But in handling it, we're going to have to recover. And recover means in 11 beyond, instead of being able to go out and do some things, we'd have to really be pulling back. And we'd be pulling back without having infused the talent that we were able to infuse this year. So we were not comfortable with the direction of the franchise given what was happening to our financial bottom line and what was in the pipeline and the talent coming in. So when we looked at that, we said, well, look, we can, by making these deals, we can infuse, as it turned out, 11 players, mostly pitchers, into our system, all of whom are expected to be major leaguers. Some of them we expect them to be high-quality major leaguers. And in the process also, we mitigate. We don't eliminate by any means. We don't eliminate the losses that we're going to incur this year, but we give us a little bit of financial breathing room so that maybe we can add a piece here or there in the next couple of years. And if we hit it with the young guys and with the guys that we still have, because there's still Sizemore, Hafner, Chu, Peralta, Cabrera, Westbrook, hopefully, Carmona, hopefully. There's still a core of talent on this team. With the new guys that we had, with the new guys that we will add, and with a little bit of financial flexibility, we felt that put the franchise in a much better position going forward than if we said, okay, let's go for it next year with what we got, without adding anything, and then we'll try to piece it all together financially and talent-wise in the years to come.